Hey everyone, it's Kate from Sleep Time Baby. I am here again for day number 2 of my 5-day sleep academy. So thank you very much for joining me again. I am here today to talk about troubleshooting. But firstly, just in case you missed yesterday, don't forget that you can catch up either on the kind of the feed on the Facebook platforms. You will get this on the email if you're not signed up yet. Let me know if you would like that. It's on my blog, on my website at sleeptimebaby.co.uk, and it's on IGTV. It's everywhere basically. So just to kind of let you know that I am Kate. I run Sleep Time Baby. I'm a certified baby and children's sleep consultant. I've been doing this for kind of 4 years now, and I absolutely love it because my aim is to help you guys sleep a bit better. So this week is all about giving you the right level of information. So yesterday we talked about sleep fundamentals, and I kind of tried to pitch it so that it wasn't sort of really boring stuff. It's just really kind of vital things. So if you can't understand the fundamentals, you'll find it hard to build on it. But today we want to talk about sleep regressions. But just to let you know, because I've had a couple of questions about it over on the DMs, that I am available for kind of one-to-one support. Just get in touch with me either via the website or send me a message, and I'll happily kind of get back to you. I run a waiting list because I only pick kind of a few clients every month basically, and that's so that I can focus on the right sort of people and give the right sort of attention. So for example, I had a consultation this morning, and I'm not doing any more because I've already done two and a half this week. So that's enough so that I can give those people the right attention. So let me know if you need any support. So today we're going to talk about troubleshooting, and this is for you if you need a bit of guidance and you're a bit kind of like, sleep was all right, but it's kind of fallen off the rail a bit. So firstly, let's talk about sleep regressions. So sleep regressions are one of those things everyone kind of is very worried about. We often find in conversations that I have that people will talk about leaps that maybe babies are going through, and apps that might track their kind of journey in terms of sleep and stuff. So I would like to kind of not dispel a few myths really, but just to say your child is your child. And whilst the information that these kind of apps and other bits of reading you can do will help you, you've got to look at what's going on with your child. So if they were a great sleeper and they had a couple of weeks off, then maybe that was a bit of a regression. But what you need to know is you can get back to it, because the most important thing about sleep regression is that it shouldn't last too long. So if you're finding that your sleep regression is going on for longer than a couple of weeks, it's possibly not a regression, it's possibly something else that's happening. And so you need to kind of be able to sit back and go, let me have a look at it. So from a regressional point of view, there are moments in time that things can happen, and they are more likely to be linked with developmental changes. So the first one that people will talk about is the 4-month sleep regression, and that in itself is kind of a regression in a way, because it's all about how their sleep patterns change. So they go from the newborn sleep stage that they have up until about 4 months, and then they transition into a baby sleep cycle around about 4 months, and that is what the 4-month regression is about. So if you go into the 4-month regression with slightly iffy sleep habits, shall we say, then it's more likely you might struggle. But if you go in there with great habits, then you might find that it kind of breezes past and you don't really notice it. And that kind of rings true for all the other kind of regressional things. So if you can understand that a developmental change can happen. Sometimes when people see them when they're crawling, babies start to crawl, definitely perhaps when they start to walk. Talking can be another one. You get the kind of separation anxiety approach, which sometimes happens around kind of, somewhere from about 8 months old. And then you can have other patches that happen as they get slightly older and their development kind of continues. But like I say, the most important things with regressions is that you can't really avoid them necessarily, because developmental changes happen, but you've just got to be able to kind of go through them. Give it a couple of weeks. If it's not back to normal, might be something else, so get in touch. So that's the kind of the tip about regressions. The next thing I want to sort of talk about that is kind of linked in a way, because often we'll find that with a child that's teething, or perhaps a child that is ill, that sleep gets a load worse, and we kind of blame it on all these kind of things, and then you end up in this whole kind of difficult situation. So if your child is poorly, they're probably going to need more help sleeping because they are tired and they might need some more comfort. So my advice is always to try and keep bedtime as good as possible. So trying not to kind of overcompensate too much at bedtime by doing too much, because you kind of know how they are. So if they're poorly, you can perhaps give them medicine before bed, and you know that that's going to help them. But in the night time, that what you might need to do is to offer them a bit more support. But once they're better, go back to kind of getting your good sleep habits on, so that then you'll be able to kind of ride it through and get back to kind of what you know to be good sleep. Again, if you have a child that has difficulty sleeping, you might find that the situation becomes slightly worse, and you need to then kind of, once they're better, be able to get back on track. With teething, it's a similar kind of story. It's an inevitable thing. Babies are going to teeth, children are going to teeth. My nearly 7-year-old boy was teething about a year or so ago, and we were like, what is this? And it was his last set of teeth that were coming through, and they were causing him so much pain. It happens. Again, we just need to know how to handle it. So think about how they've been during the day. If they've been a bit grotty, it could be just causing them a bit of discomfort. So if you feel it's appropriate, then maybe giving them a little bit of medicine to help them might be a good idea. And then as they go into the night, try and settle them again as well as possible. And then if they need more support in the night, maybe just help them for a bit. But once that tooth is through, then you should be able to get back on track. So again, it shouldn't be the excuse for long periods of disrupted sleep. So bear that in mind if it comes to kind of a teething situation. And then the last thing I want to talk about today is kind of one of the biggest problems that people come to me to talk about, and that's early rising. So early rising can happen at any age and to any way, shape or form. And really it's one of those kind of pains, isn't it? It's like you kind of think you've got your sleep sorted, and suddenly they start waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But what you want to do is kind of make sure you're secure in how to address it. So my early rising tips, they do vary by child, because obviously every different child's situation might be different. But what you want to do is check out all the fundamentals I spoke about yesterday, and we will be going through more of these in more detail through the week, so please stay tuned. You want to make sure that your child is not getting too little or too much sleep in the day. And the main reason for that is that the biggest cause of early rising is often overtiredness. So if a child goes to sleep overtired, firstly they might find it difficult to settle, but secondly they're more likely to wake earlier in the morning, just because they go down unsettled, they have a higher level of cortisol, and they might find that when it gets to that kind of early morning, they're more likely to be awake. It's a much lighter sleep stage in the early morning, and it's much easier for them to wake. So if they need any help to go to sleep, then they might be looking out for that. And if they've been overtired, that can tip them over the edge and wake them up. Similarly, if they're not tired enough because they've had too much sleep in the day, they could just wake early because they've stolen their nighttime sleep in the day. So be aware of what your child's sleep needs are. Remember that I have got the download. I'll pop the link in again. You can grab it for your child to be able to settle for the right level of naps and right level of sleep. So yeah, be conscious of what's going on with kind of overtiredness. If you think your child is overtired, put them to bed earlier. It will really help. It's the first step with overtiredness. The second thing to think about is how they're settling. So, we talked about the sleep cycles and the use of props in early rising. So make sure that you're kind of addressing how they're going down and settling awake. And then other things to kind of consider are they getting enough nutrition in the day? Are they waking from a hunger point of view? If so, put maybe an extra half a feed or something in before bed if it's a tiny baby, or maybe a sleepy snack like a banana or something along those lines. And that might help them just to go that little bit longer. So those sort of things with early rising can really kind of make a benefit. You might get to the point whereby if those things don't work, you want to push to slightly later bedtime. But I'd always start with kind of addressing what might be happening in there. The last point on early rising is the environment, because it is getting lighter in the mornings and it is going to get lighter in the evenings as well. So think about your child's room, and is it dark enough? Because any little bit of light can wake them up. In my son's bedroom, we used to have a travel blackout blind. Then we had a blind, a normal blind, and then we had blackout curtains, and it was the only way I could guarantee that his room was going to be dark in the morning. So you don't have to kind of go to the expense of all these fancy things. You can just put foil on the windows, or you can put kind of cardboard up. It's just about getting that kind of light creep to stop arriving in the day. So that's my kind of tips on early rising. So hopefully that was kind of helpful for you. There may be different situations that you've got going on, and if you want to talk about that further, then please do kind of let me know. I'm going to hopefully be running kind of more Q&As next week, because I think this week might throw out loads of questions, and I haven't really got time to kind of go through them all this week. But get in touch if you feel like you kind of need any help. And I'll be coming on tomorrow to talk about daytime. So daytime is going to be the big thing to kind of consider when it's looking at your child's schedule for the day. So I will see you then, and I will chat to you soon. All right, take care. Have a great afternoon. Bye bye.